To like strategic business moves, how do you make those decisions?
I mean, I make those decisions based on the numbers.
Welcome back to the Ground Up Podcast. It is season 3, and this is episode 54. Today, we're bringing you Allison Smith-Mackey, owner of Pop of Confetti. She's a crafter, creator, and a businesswoman. Welcome to the show, Allison.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited. Thank you.
I'm excited that it's season 3. We made it here. I'm excited that you're a new business that I just found out about, literally. So it's like just the newness, the freshness of 2022. It feels good.
Yes. It's exciting, and I love this business so much, and I'm so happy to introduce it to new people. So
yeah,
welcome in.
Yeah, well, the ones that are watching through YouTube, which, you know, you can do both if you like, you can see, like, it's so beautiful in here, and we will, like, add more photos when we post this episode because this place, like, it's magical. I mean, so just tell me. Well, first, let's start off. Let's get to know Allison a little bit. Yeah. So what's your background? Where are you from?
So I'm originally from New York City. I grew up in the Bronx. Yes. And at 15, I moved to Long Island. So I
hear a little bit of accent.
It creeps in. Yeah. So spent most of my time in the city, and then I moved in 2009 due to the recession.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So I worked in finance, and my now husband, then boyfriend, we both lost our jobs within 2 weeks apart.
Oh, wow.
And we were, new, fresh out of college, working, excited in our field. And then, everything kind of crumbled. And so we decided to take the leap and move to Virginia.
Wow. What about Richmond? What made you choose this area?
So initially I was in Fluvanna, which is the sticks outside of Charlottesville.
Yep, I'm familiar. Well, not that familiar, but I know what you're talking about.
And it's like Pleasantville. But my family's my mother's side of the family is from Fluvanna.
Okay.
So I spent every holiday here. I've never had a Christmas in New York.
Yeah.
I associate being in Virginia with like family and fun.
So it feels like home.
It's always felt like home.
Yeah.
So we both were dating and in love, and we were both living at home with our parents. And we were like, we got to get out of here. It wasn't working. And my grandmother had passed, and she left this home to the family, and it was unoccupied. It was like my childhood dream home.
Oh, wow.
Just like the perfect country house with like...
And that was in Fluvanna?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are you still there?
No.
Okay. I'm like, girl, you driving to Fluvanna?
Oh, no. So, long story short, we moved to Fluvanna, worked and lived for 2 years, got married, and then my husband got a job at MWV.
Okay.
And so we spent so much time in Richmond that it made sense to live here. So we bought a house here.
And how long ago was that?
That was 8 years ago.
Oh, okay. I was about to ask you, like, are you loving Richmond? But yes. I mean, you've been here for 8 years.
Yes, 8 years ago. Yeah, we bought our first house 8 years ago, and then 3 years later, we decided to do a little upgrade, and we sold that house and moved.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, not welcome to Richmond, but I will say I'm glad that you're here in Richmond. Tell me though, like growing up, were you always a creative? So what is your craft? Like how did you get into that space of, being an artist or creative?
So growing up, to keep me busy and occupied, since I grew up in the Bronx, my mom always had me in art classes, and she always had me in Girl Scouts, and she just kept me busy.
I was a fellow Girl Scout as well.
Were you?
I was.
I loved it. I loved the social aspect of it.
I did too.
And selling cookies, because I was competitive.
Selling them, eating them. I mean, whatever.
Both. A little of both. Caramel delights. But, so I stayed busy, and I always gravitated toward arts. Like, I could do ice skating, play basketball, soccer, whatever was going on. I always wanted to do an art class.
Yeah.
So I did every medium possible, and I've always loved clay. I've always loved metalsmithing, leatherwork. Oh, wow. So those are the things that I dabble in when I have free time.
Okay.
But I pursued it professionally for a while. It was very fulfilling from a spiritual standpoint, but not a financial one.
Yes. Do you think that that a lot of other creatives or crafters find that to be true?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It started as a creative outlet, and I wanted to make it.
You want to make
my
money off of
profession,
it too, yeah.
But it didn't always work.
Right.
But yeah, I think for sure, I think everyone has a creative outlet.
Mm-hmm. But how did you lead that, or let's just say, where did that take you to lead you to entrepreneurship, to lead you to Pop of Confetti?
Well, I mean, I've always sold. So not in a selling perspective, but I've always wanted others to try the new, best, greatest thing. Mm-hmm. So even in like elementary school, I would go to the candy truck on the corner and buy up all the sour belts that he had. Mm-hmm. And I went to a private school in a community that didn't have a candy truck.
Okay.
So I would bring in all the sour belts and whatever and sell for a markup.
Yeah.
And everyone loved it, and I would continue to do it.
Do you know, I feel like that's almost like every entrepreneur's backstory. But it's something, I mean, not every kid does it, but I tell you, the kids that do it somehow end up to be entrepreneurs.
Yeah. I think you get a taste of, wow, they're really enjoying something new and special.
Yeah.
And I'm making money. Like, yeah. And that fire just stays with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did all the shows, all of the events you could possibly do for my crafts, mm-hmm. which was primarily metalwork. I mean, primarily leather work. I did all
Which is really dope, by the way. I don't want to skip over that. That's really awesome. I don't feel like it's something I see every day.
It's just working with textures.
It's a really unique, craft.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved how pliable it is and how you can make it into anything. Mm-hmm. So I would always expand on like what you would expect and try to add something.
So give me an example. Like, okay, what was your favorite thing to make out of leather?
Honestly, earrings.
Oh, neat.
But not like your typical shapes and styles. Like I would make a camera. I would make bacon and eggs. Yes.
So like statement pieces.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So tell me how that led to you creating a business out of this, and tell us, what is Pop of Confetti? I mean, we're speaking of it like everybody already knows, but what is this wonderful place I'm sitting in?
Well, Pop of Confetti is essentially, for me, confetti is art. And I feel like everyone has a creative outlet, so everyone has a craft. And this just is a place where 15 female artists have their work hosted. Mm-hmm. And so it's a gift shop. But it's a gift shop with unconventional, untraditional gifts. And it's the gift of our artisans that allow you to share their work. Mm-hmm. So that's the first room is considered the confetti market. And so that's where all of the local Richmond, Virginia artists' work is hosted. And then up here, Pop of Confetti is 2 curated collections from other artisans. So it's 80% artisan work.
Wow.
It's just not necessarily local.
Yeah. Okay, so close your eyes. Describe it to the listeners, because they don't see this. They don't see it. Y'all got to come here. The local. Most of my listeners are local, so y'all need to get out. She's in Carytown, y'all. She's in a hot spot. What would they expect? Tell them like how would you describe Pop of Confetti?
It is an explosion of color.
Yes.
It's supposed to. In my mind's eye, I wanted it to feel like you went to your favorite ice cream shop or pastry place as an adult, and that feeling to come in as you're shopping.
Yeah.
So I wanted it to be delightful and whimsical and colorful and just feel like childhood. Mm-hmm. And still be able to do adulting.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. And it's so, like, you curated it. I love that word, too, by the way, curated. You've definitely curated it for, like, a hot spot. Like, there's so many selfie opportunities in this place. Like, this is a dope spot. You can tell that you're creative just by the way you've laid it out.
So this is a bootstrap business. So everything was kind of just based on, like, this table we're sitting at, I got at Facebook Marketplace for like $50, right? Yeah. So everything had to look and feel the way that I wanted it to, but on a budget. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, if you break it down piece by piece, nothing is very, expensive, but it's fun and it's light and it's gorgeous.
And it has character.
It comes together. Exactly.
Yeah, it's unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted it to just feel magical. I don't
All
know.
right. Well, so we've explained how beautiful Pop of Confetti is and just how unique and fun and it is. But tell me about the business side. So you went from being, a leather artisan. And what made you think, okay, I want to open up a brick and mortar and have 15, or you didn't have a number, but have other creatives, artisans, show their work here. Like, where that business model come from?
So in my leather work, I got an opportunity to do a pop-up in Tyson's Corner.
Okay.
In 2018. And I didn't have enough for the amount of space that I had contracted for.
Oh.
And I kind of just jumped in with both feet. And this is big volume. This is Tyson's Corner Christmas.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the largest malls on the East Coast.
Yeah, that sounds terrifying for me. That is like, that's too much for me, but that's awesome opportunity for you.
It was one of the first times that I literally responded to an ad on Instagram.
Okay.
Looking for vendors.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And then I went through it, and I didn't expect to be selected, honestly. Like, I loved my craft, and it was appreciated, but you never know.
Let me ask you this. At the time you were doing that, was that your sole income, crafting?
Yeah, I was trying, yes.
Okay.
Wow. I was living very modestly to make that happen, but yes.
Okay.
I mean, my husband is employed and he has income, but for me personally, yes.
Right. Okay. So you're like, all right, here's this opportunity. I can go vend at one of the, this large mall. It's a great business move. And then you didn't have enough.
Yeah.
You didn't have enough.
I didn't have enough of anything to really cover the way that it was proposed, which I've found to be true, is that the more square footage you occupy, certainly the higher your income is going to be.
Okay.
So when you vend, I went big. I got the biggest space I could purchase in the store.
Yeah.
And then definitely just didn't have enough. So
did a light bulb go off and you were like, aha, I can gather?
So I've traveled. I've been fortunate to travel and do a significant amount of traveling. So after I booked the space in Tyson's, but before I actually had to load in and start, I was going to Bali. Okay. And so, my favorite thing to do at any place in the world is to go to a market. And so I went to Bali, I went to the market, and I met this very intriguing lady, Alma, and I couldn't, her story was so striking. She wanted to show me everything she made. She took me back to her studio. I got to see her work, and that's when I was like, you know what? I'm in this new place, exotic place, that a lot of people don't travel to. Right. I'm going to bring this back and make this be a part of the collection. So I incorporated snakeskin wallets and bags and all of these items made out of python and beautifully made. I got to expand the market for this artisan in Bali, and I got to take the opportunity and give something luxurious that you can't just get around the corner.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the start of my curating.
So you're in Bali, and you meet this wonderful artisan that you just can't get off your mind, and you decide to partner with her, or so you just bought some of her, or you got an idea? Lead me. I'm trying to figure this out.
So I went back to our workshop, and I didn't go to sleep. I was just so excited about everything I had just seen because it's something I had never seen before.
So it inspired you.
It inspired me, and I then took her information and I bought out as much merchandise as I could within the store, whatever my credit card would allow.
Okay. So something told you this is going to hit.
It just was so, for me, if it lit a fire under me, I was like, someone else has to feel that, and it's just my job to get it to them.
Yeah.
And so got this incredible stuff, started curating a collection. Then I started deciding what I want it to include. And I worked with other places and other artisans to include bits and pieces and then made a collection. And it was my first year at that scale. And I came in essentially third place in terms of sales in the store.
Goodness.
And it was 32 artisans distributing their work, or creatives distributing their work.
Wow. And so you came in third place, and you also had this big aha moment, it sounds like, that you could collectively, find other artisans and be the person to put their work out there.
Yeah, it was a life-changing experience because during that time, you're an employee of the store as well during that holiday pop-up with all the other creatives you're working with. So you really get to share a lot of intimate experiences. And I learned that entrepreneurship didn't have to be lonely. Because we were all small business owners taking, this opportunity and trying to grow our brand and our business. And for me, it was finding my way a little bit, but I got to, share the space with some entrepreneurs that had been doing it for years and others who had just started like me.
Had you not decided to shoot that DM and see if you could vend at this place, I love what you just said. Entrepreneurship didn't have to be lonely. You taking that risk and doing that led you to a community.
Yes.
And it led you to realize, this is how I can build my business.
Exactly.
Wow.
So then from then on, every market I did, every pop-up I did, every show I did, I made sure to try to build a relationship with the other vendors because we're all in the same space. Something led us all to be somewhere at a specific time. We're all vending together. It's a shared experience. Let's, continue to learn and grow together. And so I kept those relationships. I made new ones along the way. And that really is what led to Pop of Confetti. I did a collective. I wanted a collective to be built into the experience. Because I don't want to just share my story. I feel like other people have so many good stories and interesting, pathways that led them to where they are. Why not fill a store with it?
Yeah. I love that. I love it. And I've had so many previous guests who a lot of their income from their business comes from pop-ups. And what they would call each other is friendors. Did I say it right? Friendors.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like you said, the community that's built from doing those type of events, and you saw the value in that.
Yeah.
And you built your own community, you could say.
Yeah. I mean, it's been since September, so it's growing. It's a slow process, but I've had 2 opportunities to provide somewhere for all of my collective to vend together. And so they did the Carytown Holiday Market and they did a Libby Hill Market. Nice. And they did it together. It was the most beautiful photo to receive, them all happy, sharing the experience. All I did was pay for the space. They made their own money. It was just a way for them to bond and earn income for the holidays.
What's the name of the collect? Is it called the Collective?
It's the Confetti Market Collective.
Okay, the Confetti Market Collective. I love it. Talk a little bit more about the Pop of Confetti. Like the name is just so it makes you feel good, Like, did that just come to you, or when you were when you decided to open a brick and mortar, that come to you, or has that already been like your thing?
So that developed in the pandemic.
Okay.
So my legacy brand is Orchid Noir. And
that was your brand for your leather craft.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And so that has always been, the platform part of me that I've done business with. And then the pandemic was a dark space. It was a dark time. I used confetti or just tissue paper just for anxiety purposes. I cut it up. And it's just something fun that I do, I replaced eating popcorn. Pardon me. I replaced eating popcorn with just shredding paper.
Yeah,
right?
I think it either was a reel or your story, and it was very
cathartic.
Watching you cut that tissue paper up. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an Aquarius. I'm a creative. My mind is always going. Yeah. So I need to find things to quiet my mind for a moment.
Girl. Ooh, I feel you on that. Maybe I need to cut up some tissue paper.
Seriously, it just because there's no such thing as perfect confetti, right? But you want it to look a certain way.
Yeah.
So as you're cutting, you're trying to make it perfect, but you can't make it perfect. But it just, that level of mental focus just allows for a recharge. So Orchid Noir is dark. It was intended to be a black orchid, right? And I was like, it's not hitting online. Sales aren't, it's just not, without having the supplemental income of going to shows, it just wasn't where it needed to be.
Yeah.
And so I was like, the brand needs a pop of color. It just, I got to add something to it. It needs to change. And I was cutting confetti, and I was like, it needs a pop of confetti. And I created a collection around it of crystal jewelry with like colorful stones. And that was just a collection at orchidnoir.com. And that collection was outselling orchidnoir.com. And so that's when I said...
So that collection that you created around Pop of Confetti was outselling your original orchid.com?
Yeah, orchidnoir.com.
Okay. It was outselling that, and so you realized you had something here.
I was like, I've got to change. People need bright. We need fun.
Yeah.
This is also a time with, civil unrest. And I was like, you know what? We need another side of things.
Yeah.
And so it resonated with people. That's why they selected the colorful items over my more neutral, subdued materials, natural stones. So I was like, you know what? This is where we're going with it. This is where people, and I started feeling more energized by the brand and more energized by the business and more creative. And I think it kind of
felt good.
Me. Yeah.
So what was the biggest, or what was the transition like, or the biggest challenge from transforming from e-commerce, because this was an e-commerce business, or, vending too, but now to a brick and mortar?
So still, all the pandemic, what happened was I'm actually friends with a business owner here in Carytown, and I had vended in her parking lot many times. And we became friends over it was first Saturdays. So we became friends over those events. And she had mentioned to me that she would carry, some of my collection in her store leading up to the holidays. And I mentioned to her that I was interested in a boutique. Mm-hmm. And
she said, "Oh, girl, the one across the street."
Yeah, she pointed me here, and I had a conversation with the building owner. And that's I took the leap. And then it was a much larger space than I needed for my collection.
Right.
And I've always, like I said, I didn't want entrepreneurship to be lonely.
Yeah.
And so that's when I was like, you know what? I'm going to have a collective.
Yeah. So were you preparing for that move financially? Like, opening a brick and mortar is a big move, right? So, let's talk about capital for that. Was that like a process, or were you just like, I can do this and make it work? How was that transition?
I'm a risk taker.
Okay, there we go.
And so it was, yes, I was halfway prepared for it.
Okay.
But no, in that my husband made a significant investment in my brand because he believed in me and believes in what I'm trying to do. So that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't ask
support help.
Yeah, I didn't ask for any family. There's no outside contributors. I mean, certainly my mom is here almost every day helping me in other ways. But no, we did it on our own.
Yeah, bootstrap, baby.
Exactly.
There's a new business in town.
Golden Touch Mobile Detailing.
If you're in the Richmond, Virginia area and tired of riding dirty,
or you appreciate a deep clean,
book an appointment with Golden Touch Mobile Detailing. It's not your average car wash. Full interior and exterior cleaning, and Golden Touch Mobile Detailing comes to you.
It's the attention to detail to make you a returning customer.
Follow the Instagram at Golden Touch RVA and book your appointment.
I guarantee you'll be riding clean.
All right, so you opened in September.
Yes.
You're into the new year, into 2022. How is it going?
It is going better than I could have ever expected. And it's in the repeat customers.
That's a good sign. I always say that's a good sign.
Exactly. That's how I know that they found something special. So, yeah, it
makes you speechless.
It does. It really, really does. Because I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
We're in a pandemic. I'm opening a brick and mortar business. I've never had my own brick and mortar business. This is my first go at it. I'm flying by the seat of my pants in many ways, as a solo owner, essentially. So, no, I'm learning every day. Every single day I'm learning so much. And in doing so, I've been able to share the experience with customers who are responding to it. And so for that reason and that reason alone, I am eternally grateful for it working thus far. I don't know what will happen.
Oh, we're going to be hopeful, baby. We're going to be hopeful. It's going well. But let's break that down a little bit more. what resources or what, what's guiding you, what's carrying you through, or what's leading you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I have a family that I want to support. I have a lifestyle that I want to live. And that's the driving force behind it. And then just a passion for creativity and for being able to share other people's creativity.
And when it comes to like strategic business moves, how do you make those decisions?
I mean, I make those decisions based on the numbers.
Based on the numbers. I like that answer. It's realistic.
I mean, really, this is so different than anything that I had charted for myself, that I don't have a path, a predetermined path. There's financial success, and there's success in the happiness of the customers. There's success in the happiness of the 15 women who have joined me for this journey thus far. That's how I measure it.
Yeah.
There's no other way.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. What advice would you give? So one of the things I really like that you said, and, I do a little questionnaire before I have guests on, and you said you wanted your key takeaway to be, there is a bright future in creativity. That hit me. Just tell me a little bit more about what that means to you.
I think that we get so caught up in the minutia of every day that a lot of people who have creative gifts and talents don't get to share them because they're focused on so many other things with demands. And I understand that. But I think that what makes us individuals is our gifts and abilities and our talents. And so we have to make room to share that. And if we do, you really start to shine when you're in your bag. Like you just,
yeah.
And so I think that if I can do that, if I can use this platform to do that, then that will have an impact on anyone who's a part of this journey. I think at large that can be done with anyone's creative talents. You just use it as a hobby. You can grow it into a business. So I feel like if more of us take the time to hone into our skills and abilities, we'll have more to offer. Yeah. And I see that being a bright future because now we're inner content creators, have a huge impact on the world right now.
Yeah.
I mean, look at you and I. I feel more alive when I'm in this space, and I feel like there's now more growth because of the untraditional pathways like
Preach, yes.
So,
I mean, I'm sitting here just shaking my head because I feel so much of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Y'all hate. I hate when I make it about me, but give me a second here. It's gonna come full circle. This past, we're recording this a little early, so Christmas just passed, and like my aunt and my mom may be listening, but they asked me, like, what are you getting out of this? What's going on with this podcasting thing? Like, this is really becoming a lifestyle for you guys. And it's just very untraditional. They don't understand the power of a platform, not quite. It's a very untraditional pathway, but at the same time, it's so not. Like, look at the world we live in now.
Right.
But I hear you. I hear what you're saying. And it's a gift to be able to create a platform. It's a gift. It's a different type of creativity, but it is creativity. And so I just think that it's powerful to open our minds a little bit more to different pathways.
Yeah.
This money can be made doing things we love.
Yes. Yeah. If the pandemic taught me anything, it's that you have to make the most of the time that you have. And so if you get caught up in the mundane, you're not living because you're not really finding the joy in what you do.
Right.
And so I just think it's important to find that joy and share it.
Yeah, absolutely. Find that joy and share it. Well, that leads me to, what do you feel like you've learned about yourself thus far? You're still like, this is just the beginning for Pop of Confetti, So, but I'm sure you've already learned so much about yourself through this journey of getting this place open. I could tell you so much that I've learned about you in the last 30 minutes, but, what have you learned about you?
I've learned that I'm more resilient than I thought I was. I've learned to not even hone in on things that aren't going the way that I anticipated or expected, because that's the only way that I'm going to continue. And I think every day I have a moment where I'm like, why am I in this? Like, did I make the right choices? And it's reassuring to know that, a lot of the things that are hurdles and obstacles just make you stronger. And so I'm speechless because I don't know how to best express